Well, new fallout today from an Air Force general's decision to overturn a sexual assault conviction. Kim Hanks, a civilian employee at Aviano Air Force Base in Italy, claimed that a top colonel had raped her at his home in March of 2012. She has come out publicly with her identity. A military jury found that Lieutenant Colonel James Wilkerson was guilty of the crime last November, and he was sentenced to a year behind bars and removal from the service. Then, a few months ago, Lieutenant General Craig Franklin overturned the conviction on his own, even though he didn't attend the trial, threw out the jury's verdict. Now the colonel, Wilkerson, has been reassigned from Italy to Tucson, Arizona, where many members of Kim Hanks' family live. They are outraged. They want him booted from the military, and they want this general who overturned the conviction booted as well. Pete Hegseth is the CEO of Concerned Veterans for America. He's my guest now. Pete, they say they extracted a promise from someone in the military that this guy would not be reassigned anywhere near Kim or her family, and that promise has been violated. They're still ticked off about what the general did. They want him expelled from the military altogether. Your thoughts on it?
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen. I mean, the Air Force transferred him. It's very dispassionate. It's needs of the Air Force, and so they positioned him in that location. Probably really bad PR. They should have considered it and thought through that before they took that step. You know, I've got in looking at this case even more, a lot of empathy for the woman who came forth and talked about this and truly feels like she's been wronged in this particular situation. And certainly the military has perception issues with sexual assault. At the same time, there's a protocol through the Uniform Code of Military Justice that this commander followed very thoughtfully. If you review the documents, it's a confusing case. The more you look into it, the more confusing it really is.
And let me just jump in.
I think it's unfair to just
jump in, because what she said was that she was at a party at Wilkerson's house in Italy, that Wilkerson's wife was there as well, that she apparently was too drunk to go home or for some reason decided to stay overnight in the guest room, and then in the middle of the night she awoke to find him on top of her, sexually assaulting her. He denied all of that, and his wife was in the house and she denied it as well. The jury found in favor of the victim and said she had been raped. General Franklin overturned the conviction after getting something like 80 letters of clemency on behalf of Colonel
91.
Wilkerson, saying, trust us when we tell you this guy could never do it. And here's the thing, and looking back at the evidence, Pete, there was a witness testimony from a female friend of the alleged victim who actually took her to the hospital the next day, and she said to the general when he was reviewing this, don't do it, you got to overturn the conviction, because she believed this woman had a reason to lie. And he claimed he looked at other testimony that suggested in another case years ago she was less than credible, something the jury never got to hear.
Yeah, but both sides have, and there's also a lie detector test that was failed by that colonel. I mean, both sides have a lot of evidence that they're putting forth. I think what is not the case here is that this was a sweetheart deal of a three-star general helping out a light colonel in the Air Force and making sure his career goes forward. In fact, this general has seen 5 cases, reviewed 5 sexual assault cases. 2 he's overturned, and 3 he's upheld. His superiors have without question said he's a man of character and integrity who was very thoughtful about his approach on this. This general thought that there was reasonable doubt. I mean, that's the barometer in this case.
But it's so foreign to the rest of us. It's so foreign to the non-military people, Pete, because in the civilian system, the jury are those are the people who observe. They watch the witnesses. You assess credibility. You make the judgment call based on the evidence that comes in under the rules of evidence. This guy looked at evidence that was not allowed. There's a reason it's not allowed under the rules of evidence, and didn't even sit in the trial.
In the military, judgments aren't made by juries, they're made by commanders. I mean, juries make judgments, but commanders ultimately can overrule them. It's very much a difference between the way a military is structured for command, for execution, for efficiency, vis-a-vis a democratic society that has juries of peers that look at evidence that's admissible or not admissible. It doesn't make it right or wrong. I don't know if the general made the right call in this case. I certainly hope he did for the sake of everyone involved. But, because if he didn't, is someone who had committed a sexual assault is now back in the military. But at the same time, he had that authority. He doesn't actually have to explain himself because commanders have a lot of authority in the military.
He has the authority as of today. Our Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel is now pushing to change that. We'll see whether Congress goes along. Pete, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Megyn.
Coming up, a Boston newspaper secures